The Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And good evening, everyone at home. Right, Ty?
Yes.
You gotta remember them.
There you go. People watching.
Okay, I'll read the resolution to schedule a public hearing. For Town Board, Town of Highlands pursuant to Section 62 of General Municipal Law of the State of New York. Establish a capital reserve fund for the purpose of making capital repairs to the town hall, known as the Town Hall Repair Reserve Fund. Whereas prior to expenditures from the Town Hall Repair Reserve Fund, the town board must hold a public hearing. Therefore, be it resolved, a public hearing shall be held to receive all comments concerning the expenditure of up to $20,000 for roofing repairs at the town hall. The hearing will be on April the 11th at 7 p.m. at the town hall. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing for the town hall?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay.
What?
Any public comment? No? Okay.
Hey.
What?
Hey.
I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I have the minutes of the last meeting held on March the 28th. Motion to approve?
Motion?
Oh, thank you.
Second.
Motion, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Carried, thank you. Communications. I'll start out with, no, I grabbed the wrong thing. I received a letter from the Department of Transportation answering some questions I had, and strangely enough, a few people from Fort Montgomery asked me the same thing. As everyone is aware, there is no northbound left-hand turn into Dunkin' Donuts. And you might scratch your head and wonder why, because all along the route, there are left-hand turns across the traffic. Thank you for your correspondence to the New York State DOT dated July the 29th regarding left turns into the new Dunkin' Donuts and speed reduction along Route 9W, Town of Highlands. New York State DOT evaluated vehicle operations for this site with the traffic numbers provided by the consultant engineer. Those numbers exceeded the threshold for a left turn lane. When a dedicated left turn lane cannot be provided, a turning movement restriction is implemented. DOT cannot accommodate the request to lower the existing 35-mile-an-hour speed limit to 25 miles an hour. After a field review of the location, it was determined that this section of Route 9W does not meet the criteria needed for the reduction. Thank you for your interest and support to DOT. If you have any other questions, to let them know. My thought was, okay, if it's dangerous to make a left-hand turn there, then, and you can't allow it, then bring the speed limit down to 25 miles an hour. That'll take away the dangers from all the other ones. Well, I mean, I tried. That's all I can say. But I'll give them credit for one thing. They did answer my questions. Also in communications, I suppose beginning today, it's going to, did you get that on Facebook or our website? Okay, that's fine. There's a program put out by the state that will give aid to low-income household water assistance and low-income sewer assistance. It's a benefit of up to $2,500 per water and sewer provider, $5,000 if water and sewer is combined. This would be paid directly to the household water and sewer provider. We have set up a portal where the state will collect this money, or not collect this money, the state will give us the money, but the low-income household has to apply for it. They have to go online. I have these on the bulletin board. I'll have more information at the town clerk's office. Just for an example, low income, a household of one person is a maximum of $2,700.29, $2,729. There, and I got that out. That's an example for one person in a household, and that's the gross monthly income. 5 people in the household, the gross monthly income is $6,088. So anybody that falls within that and has fallen behind on their water and sewer bills and are in penalty stage or whatever have you, we have a portal for this to be sent to us. Now, I'm talking to the residents outside of the village. I'm not sure if the village has this program or if they're going to adopt this program, but I got this in the mail and I did what I had to do to get it done. So that's for homeowners outside of the village.
Is there a link on the website, our website already for it, or?
There will be tomorrow.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, we just, the last week or two, we just got the go-ahead from the state. And so it sounds like a nice deal. I mean, it's good for us, it's good for the people out there that can't pay their bill. How long it's going to last, I'm not sure, but we'll have to see the compliance.
Take it while you got it. Take it while you got it.
Board liaison reports, Councilman Modlin.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Just a few things that, from the Ambulance Corps ambulance report for the month of March. As you know, we've been talking and tracking the answered calls here for a while now. Starting to tick back up into the mid 90%, which is good. We took a little bit of a hit at the beginning of the year because of some COVID issues and some other issues. But for the month of March, Ambulance Corps had a total of 47 calls, in which 44 were answered by our local town of Highlands Ambulance Corps members. That's a percent rate of just under 94%. I think our high from last year was 95%. So we're sort of getting back to that. Again, the calls that weren't answered, I know I'm sounding a little bit like a broken record here, but calls that weren't answered had to do with, again, lack of drivers. And so still needing to look at that, a lack of volunteers. Leading into that, and I reported on this a couple of meetings or so ago, back in early March, late February timeframe. But I have looked at the agreements. I was interested in finding and re-looking the agreement between the Ambulance Corps and the town of Highlands. There are, I believe it's 3 agreements. They're all dated in the 1990s. One was signed by our current town supervisor, and 2 were signed by a former town supervisor. And but needless to say, they're definitely in need of updating. And I think there's some language in there that is probably applicable now, but there's a lot of language that isn't. And so I've actually asked them to go back and draft up a draft proposal or some draft language in terms of an agreement for us to look at and review, and I'll be bringing that to the board and stuff like that. So I think part of that, my view of this, is really looking at roles and responsibilities also. And, like, what about volunteers? What about this? What more needs to be done to do that? So, more to follow with that, but that's starting to take place. In fact, I think it's on the agenda. We're going to talk about the electric vehicle charging services site host agreement. So I have a couple of comments about that, but when we get into that, I was on a call that Olga hosted last week. Ty and I, in fact, both were on that. So I'll save those comments for that. Also, since our last meeting, had a chance to attend the April, I guess it was, Community Coalition meeting. It was last week. Ann Molina is doing a really, really good job of pulling that together, hosting that for the community, for the entire town. Deputy Chief Basile was at it with me, and several other members of the community. One thing that there is going to be of an immediate nature for everyone to know, at Holy Innocents Parish Hall tomorrow morning, Tuesday, the 12th of April, tomorrow morning, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and I'm going to read this to make sure that I don't misstate it. There is a seniors information health fair, and the Community Coalition team is going to be at that along with others. But this is, again, from 9:30 to 12:30. I think I misstated 9 to 12. It's 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. tomorrow at Holy Innocents Parish Hall. The Community Coalition is open to community members, by the way. It is a Orange County-wide initiative. The ADAC, the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program of Orange County, sponsors this. It supports it. It looks at substance abuse issues within a community to help community understand that and be able to take care of individuals that need that kind of care. There's also a piece of mental health also that in recent weeks, recent days, I've been seeing, and probably a lot of folks have been seeing, concerns about the mental health of teenagers in particular as a result of the last couple of years with COVID, and concerns at schools and in homes. And so that's something that the Community Coalition is going to also be looking at with resources provided by the county. And that's it for now, and I'll have some more to say about the charging station here in a couple of minutes. So thank you very much, and happy Easter and happy Passover to everyone.
Thank you, sir. Real quick tonight, they're still looking for a lawn cutter for the cemetery. That job has not been fulfilled yet. And if you know anybody or want a summer job, please call the Town Highway Department at 446-3800. Again, that job's still open. And on the broken record thing as well, recycle, recycle, recycle. Again, that program, you're going to hear us push that a lot this year and ongoing. Again, call the Highway Department if you'd like to buy or need a recycling can. That's it for tonight. Thank you.
On that lawn cutter for the cemeteries, that's for the 3 cemeteries.
Thank you.
We provide the equipment, so we
Right.
don't need the equipment. We just need your manpower.
Just there. Need a human being.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Councilman King, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. Very few notes from me this evening. In fact, the one major note I had, my colleague just read it, Jim Motlin. And so I was looking to share that, but he beat me to the punch. I would just caveat to say that along the lines of everything he said, there will be a presence from Dollar Bus at this community information fair for older adults. And we're looking at Section 8 information being available for those that may need that. Door prizes to get folks to come out, and also refreshments, light refreshments will be served. And that is at Holy Innocents there. Other than that, I'll just say that police negotiations continue, although we are confident that we are close to a resolution. Think it'll be soon. Can't predict a specific timeline. However, based off the last meeting, we come to a lot of consensus on many of the issues. We feel very confident that we'll be able to get a deal done soon. And then, as we are now coming to mid-April and about 60 days out from Juneteenth, we're looking for volunteers throughout the community that may want to help with that committee. And, so reach out to me if you like to be involved. I think this year, one of the things I'd be interested in doing is maybe a 5K walk/run. So anybody that's got expertise in that area that want to help out with that, by all means, please. And the reason I add the 5K run walk, not just that I've been walking 4 miles a day, I'd like to throw that out there, but I found out, and I should have already known this, that June, anybody know what June is besides Juneteenth? June is Men's Health Month. Did you know that? I didn't either till yesterday.
I knew that.
You knew that. See,
sure.
well, you didn't tell me. Did you know we're supposed to wear blue?
Yeah.
And there's like a blue day that signifies, this is just news to me. So the supervisor had already known, but we're going to do something big this year. So hopefully we'll get some volunteers there. And also I wanted to ask Olga, because we do have this community fair for the elders tomorrow, are we still having Tai Chi as scheduled?
Yeah,
Okay, just wanted to mention that to the community. Those who are interested in Tai Chi, continue to come out to the senior center. I think that starts at 11?
10:30.
10:30. You want to be there. It's a fabulous, fabulous experience. I've tried it myself. I intend to be back. And so Tai Chi is on tomorrow. In closing, I'll say happy Easter and happy Passover. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Sullivan?
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for being late. I had a great deal to talk about, but I did not have time to put it together, so I'm not going to talk about a whole lot, because I don't like to look like a fool. That happens naturally all by itself.
Come on.
So yesterday was very nice. Ronnie Coffey spearheaded one of the beginning events for our 150th anniversary in the town of Highlands, which was the open churches. I don't go to church a lot. I went 9 times yesterday. And I put a little thing on, I plagiarized Ronnie Coffey. She had some handouts with history on it. I broke it into pieces and put a little thing on the Town of Highlands history page and put it to the tune of My Heart's in the Highlands by Bob Dylan. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was really nice to see the different architecture. And I got to tell you, Michael Graber, I think it was his uncle, I grew up with Leo and Cheryl Graber, and their great-grandfather built half these churches as well as one of the houses that I have. Blessed Sacrament, Holy Innocents they were involved in. They still look great after 100-plus years, and so I went to all of them. The AME Zion Church had a protocol where you could only drive by, you couldn't go inside. But every place else we went inside, it was very nice, very well received. And Ronnie Coffey did a great job setting that all up, and all the people, I forgot a lot of people, but all the people there to greet us. The Hitmans were at the Methodist Church in Fort Montgomery. Charlie Murphy was up here at Holy Innocents, and Mike DeSalvo was at Sacred Heart. It was very, very nice. On Friday night here with Olga, the Citizens Environmental Advisory Committee had a Zoom meeting, partial Zoom, partial here, with, tell me his name, Michael Devine, who is quite knowledgeable. I don't know his position on the Stretch Energy Code, which we've talked about this in the past. We would have to adopt it by the 30th of this year in order for it to become law. That's not a lot of time, and I have sent out one email on it. I'm going to send out more. In preparation for that, not saying it's going to happen, but if it does happen, Philip has to be trained. This Thursday, he's going for part of that training. He won't be here. He'll be in the town of Bedford for the day, receiving training, which will get us points toward that. He's got to do it anyway as time goes on. So we're moving forward with that as fast as we can. And we talked about, is EV charging station going to be spoken about tonight? We're going to talk about that tonight, right? Okay. Okay. Only been 3.5 years we've been talking about it, so moving forward with that. What else? The sewer plant, like, we've had a lot of rain, and that place has had a lot of flow. I don't have the numbers in front of me. We have a person who is an applicant before the planning board for Pine Hills that is also an interest in the property next to Bob's Restaurant down there, who inquired about how the sewers run through there and provided a drawing which was completely wrong. So we gave him an updated how the sewer is set up, with one exception. That message board down there for the bridge job is right on top of the manhole that needs to be looked at. I've worked for that company before. They're going to move that before the end of the week so that we can get at that manhole to prove what's in there. So this is a part that I'm not all that well prepared for with the building department. I just want to say that, like, it doesn't matter to me if you're a Republican or a Democrat or a village or a townie or whatever else. I hate to see people go to one meeting and assert something without talking to the rest of us. So in my time on this board, I've probably sent out about 10 emails to the Village of Highland Falls people, gotten responses a few times. Sometimes from Mr. DeSalvo, I've gotten responses, sometimes from the mayor. Melanie's responded a few times. And I watched their meeting the other night, and I saw the discussion on the building department. So I just want to say, in the building department, if Bruce were still here, he'd be making $71,000 a year. If Kim DeSocio were still here, she'd be making $54,000 a year. And we had a part-time clerk who was making, I think, $14,000 a year. The phone wasn't being answered. I was getting a lot of complaints. We all know Bruce quit and John Zajac quit. Right now, the amount of money being spent in that department is about $1,000 more than the three things I just mentioned, because we went to a full-time secretary. She's very good. She's administrative assistant, excuse me. She's very good. She's answering the phone. She did a report for me that I'm going to read off in a couple of minutes. And I saw a letter in the paper about people's dogs defecating on the sidewalk and things like that. First of all, like, be good neighbors, be clean, you know? And there's some stuff in the village code pertaining to those things. And in regard to dog excrement on the sidewalk, there's nothing that involves a building inspector that I read, okay? With property maintenance, which is their section 170-7, I just want to read the first line in that. This chapter may be enforced by the building inspector, code enforcement officer, and or any police officer of the Village of Highland Falls. That goes back to about 25 years ago. The village hired somebody. They were unhappy with us. We were in our infancy as a building department being joint, and they hired someone part-time to go out and do this type of enforcement, and that person quit after about a month. So along the way somewhere, they have empowered their police officers. So if someone's grass is too high or something like that, I'm not suggesting people call the village police. What I am suggesting is, here, I'm on the website, email me, tell me the problem, tell me what's going on, or Phil, and it will be addressed. But we're not the only solution. There are other, you can call the village police for things like that. So that's what it says in this law. So I just wanted to mention that. And I have an email here I want to read that I asked Philip to do for me. Be patient. I'm ad-libbing here. Okay. All right, I have it. For the year 2021, this is village and town. In the Village of Highland Falls, there were 130 applications. In the town outside the village, there were 70. Permits, there were 130 in the village, 75 in the town. Complaints, there were 131 in the Village of Highland Falls, There were 22 in the town outside the village. Projects, there were 148 projects in the village of Highland Falls, 71 in the town. Inspections, there were 246 in the village and 69 in town. So all those percentages are over 65% of the work being in the village of Highland Falls. I'm declaring that I think the building department is doing a good job, okay? And if there's anything not being addressed, people can call me, email me. They don't have to talk about it at a separate meeting. I will respond to it immediately, and I'll have Phil jump right on top of it. So I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Let me echo that, and if you can't get a hold of Richie, you've got my phone number, and you can get a hold of me. I've got to walk across the hall to talk to Phil. So,
The kid's here on Saturdays and Sundays, and we know he's poised to be the department head in the year 2023. And I will stay here in front of the camera. I will make it my mission in life to see to it that he gets there, because he's put the time and effort into it. He has a BSI and he has a CEO. He goes to ZBA meetings. He goes to the planning board meetings. All of that stuff. He's a little bit overwhelmed from time to time, and we have at $50,000 in our budget a year a professional consultant. So if you add those up, like I'm saying, there's more money being spent down that building department right now than there was if it was structured the way it was, and I think it's working better. The Rick Minicozy project was way over Philip's head. That was handled, and is in the process of being handled. We're not used to that type of a project. It was COVID. It's being handled well. He's getting his service from the planning board and from the zoning board and from the building department. For the planning board and the zoning board, I don't have anything. The ZBA had an applicant withdraw. I don't believe they're meeting this month. Planning board, is that this week or next week?
Next week.
Okay.
So they'll have their regular meeting.
Okay, all right. So, and I think that's about it. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Chief, have anything for us?
Yes, excuse me, a couple things, sure. So, to echo everybody's concerns, the last meeting, we are still looking for officers. We're not the only department in Orange County. We spoke to about 5 different chiefs. It just seems that there's no one out there that either wants to work part-time or we can find part-timers. But we're manning our shifts, but it's always good to have, a few extras. We do have a couple officers that are going to be deployed soon, so it's good to have a little backup. 9W, I agree with you on Dunkin' Donuts. We have a fixer post there, a special attention post, every day, day tour and 4 to 12, 1 hour, monitoring that sign because of the fact that we've had some near misses, a couple with our own patrol cars. So, coming northbound, you can't make a left, and coming out, you can't go northbound. So we sit invisible there just to make sure we don't want to have a situation there. Visible. Remember, the goal is a presence, not summonses. So we want to make people see that so they can continue on the correct way. Tomorrow I'll be at Holy Innocents as well, prepared to talk about anything the police can come up with. And I know you mentioned something about mental health. So last week, myself and Rob Doss, he's the chief in New Windsor, we had a great meeting with Commissioner Darcy Miller for mental health and Department of Health as well. We talked a lot of issues about what's affecting the police and, different correspondence and how our folks get treatment and what have you. She stressed the 311 number I could talk about more about in the future, but I thought it was a great meeting and it was good to be there knowing that we lost one, but we still have 5 or 6 officers CIT approved, crisis intervention. So for a small agency to have that many people, it was a very good meeting. That's about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Kelly, do you have anything? No. Okay. Dustin, do you have anything?
Just the agenda items tonight.
Okay, electric vehicle charging services host agreement. We talked briefly about it, and I think we need to know more. We need our attorney to look this over, and we need more information, which I'm not sure exactly what we need, but if any of us have questions, Richie?
Everyone knows probably as much as I do. It was a green company. What was the name of the company that we looked at?
Green Spot.
Green
I
Spot.
looked at their proposal. They kind of almost do everything. I'm on board down next to your restaurant down there
Yeah.
on that lot.
Tim, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, that, there was a call that, Olga, thank you again for setting that up and hosting it, last week. Councilman King and I were on it, Olga was on it, the, representative from Green Spot was on it, did a very good job answering some of our questions. I guess the amended or whatever agreement, proposed agreement, that was sent, following last week's call, I think we need a little bit more time looking at that, quite frankly. The concept I agree with, I think is a very good concept, Richie. Some of the things that I think we need to probably talk about as a board is how many spots do we want to have? One thing that was very clear from the call and was asking, well, first off, it sounds very good in that the upfront cost of doing this is going to be borne by the company itself. So it's not anything that the town is going to be doing. It's not any taxpayer dollars that are going to be involved in this. That's what's very attractive, in my opinion, with their proposal. State-of-the-art equipment, and their business model on this is that, and the reason they are doing this is they want us to agree to doing this for, I think it's 5 years, because they believe it's going to take them that amount of time to recoup their investment and make a little profit off of this. There is a profit-sharing, revenue-sharing possibility that we could work out with them on what they would be bringing in from charging electric vehicles. That's still to be determined. I don't know if that's something we want to be more than just a thought before we sign off on this. What is meant by revenue sharing and what percentage and those kinds of things. There was a number that was tossed out, but it was just a number. One of the things that we would be responsible for is the policing of the sites. And I'm sort of looking at our two chiefs here a little bit. Because of any vandalism that might take place, we would be responsible for that. And also any vehicle that would park there that is not charging. In other words, it's not an electric vehicle. We would be responsible, I guess we'd have to set something up, but we would be responsible for citing that or doing something so that the spots are actually there for electric vehicles. And none of that is what we, as a board, we haven't talked about any of that. What the devil's in the details in a lot of this. But the concept is the parking lot over by Bob's place. There was a comment made, and I am not an electric vehicle driver currently, so I don't know from my own experience, but there was a comment made that there's two kinds of technology. There's a fast charge, and then there's sort of a slower type charge. I'm looking at Olga here. A normal kind of charge. For the normal, which is less expensive, that's what they're going to propose. Again, less cost to them. But that charge for a typical electric vehicle that is empty, has no charge, could last anywhere between 8 to 10 hours to charge the vehicle. So that means we would have one vehicle at one station potentially for that period of time. And so the question is, are we okay with that? One vehicle tying up a parking spot for that period of time. Now, I think it was Olga or someone made a comment that typically users of the vehicles do not wait until their batteries are almost on empty. And so even though that's how long it would take, in reality, it would probably take less time because people would be topping off as opposed to, a full tank, if you will. But again, I think those are some things that we would need to talk about. I think we need to identify how many of the stations that we want to have. I believe they're talking 2 or 4.
2 stations, 4 ports.
2 stations, 4 ports, yeah. So there's 2 ports per station. And so that would be 4 spots, though, 4 parking spots. And so, again, that's sort of a question. Do we want to devote in that parking lot 4 parking spaces for electric vehicles? And again, recognizing, from what I understand, especially on weekends, there are a lot of hikers, and that was mentioned during the call too, that a lot of hikers will be coming in and I guess tend to park their cars all day there a lot. And so if any of them have an electric vehicle, maybe that's okay because they're going to be there that long anyway. From what I understand, once a vehicle is charged, I guess there's going to be some kind of app or something that the person who owns the vehicle would have, probably that's how they would pay for it and stuff like that, that there would be a notification given to them that their vehicle is charged. And if they do not come and pick up the vehicle, in other words, keep it there for longer than it needs to be charged, then there is something that could possibly be worked out to charge them additional fee for that, like fee for parking or something. So these are, again, the devil's in the details, I think, in a lot of things, but I believe they are questions that they're asking of us that they would like for our feedback to get back to them before we sign off on the whole thing. Plus, I don't believe what they sent out towards the end of last week went to all the board members.
Okay.
So that, I think, that would be a good thing for me.
I want to get this out to all the board members. So I'll give it to you and you can copy it with the boxes. A couple of things I noticed on this agreement here. One of the things I like, and it has to do with cell towers and et cetera, that there's a removal cost. And it's written right in the contract. I think it's up to $25,000. This fine print is not easy on my eyes, but and then I did see a 5%, revenue payment is 5%. So, and Olga, is there anything that we're talking about that you can help us with?
Well, I mean, if you need to speak with the vendor again, we could arrange that, but I think these are internal questions that you have to resolve yourself as far as the number of charging stations and the revenue sharing model that you want to pursue.
How much trouble would it be for the vendor to come down and talk to us?
I think he's just in Jersey, so I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay.
You probably would want to come and look at the site anyway, so I can ask him.
Yeah, I mean, if he could come to our next meeting 2 weeks from now, and any questions we have, we'd be able to go right to him.
Yeah. I guess, speaking for myself, I just want to make sure we've asked and we're answering all the questions that are out there. This is what I remember from the call. So I think it's a really good idea if he would come and talk to us, and if he would even, or Olga, if, you or the committee, but are there a list of questions? What is it that they need from us also? I think would be very helpful, and then we can think about what is it that we need from him. Does that, you see what I'm saying? Or is that
I've never
not necessarily?
vehicle charging station, so but yeah, there's probably, I mean, they had an FAQ, which I think can prompt some questions. The FAQs hit the high points
Okay.
of considering,
Yeah.
the use of such a thing, so, but I think,
So let me know if he can come next meeting, and I think that'd be great. And tell him that we'll be looking at approving this based on what questions we have and what he can add to it.
well,
Right.
Justin, have you taken a look at the revised contract?
No.
Okay. Because I know you asked him to
Yeah,
make
so-
some changes.
Yeah, they were receptive to a lot of the legal comments. I've forgotten which day we met, Wednesday? Monday, and so maybe the contract revised came in around Wednesday. I haven't had the opportunity to review it. I certainly will.
Which one do I have?
I think you have well, I think you have them both, but I think you did get the revised. So I do think, right, Jim pointed out just a couple of those sort of big picture policy issues, and if the board can come to consensus, I think you'll end up with a good legal agreement. It's
I think this
in
is a
pretty
good
good shape.
deal. The bottom line, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
We're providing something to our residents, or not necessarily our residents, because we'll be getting a lot of out-of-town people, but I think it's a real good deal. It doesn't cost us anything, and we do make a few dollars off of it.
Right. I think so.
I don't want to miss the opportunity. Okay. That internship, who has the information on that? Because I don't.
Did Joe sent out an email?
I sent that out when I was away. Olga, can you hit on that anymore? I mean, I'm sorry to put it on you, but you're the one that prompted it, so you know about it. Could you?
Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, NYSERDA has a clean energy internship program, and they maintain a database of potential college either grads or college students, or even high school students, I imagine. And they will fund up to 90% of the cost of an intern. And so my proposal is to have us bring somebody in to work with the various departments at the town, particularly DPW, and anywhere else where you're looking to maybe, even when it comes to the building, improvements that all are related to being more energy efficient, cleaner energies, more sustainable. So to create a report, a plan for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, whatever is reasonable for this intern to work on and create, so that the whole town, all of the departments would have kind of a roadmap that they would have input into creating for themselves, and to follow a more sustainable path as time goes on. So that's the idea.
And who finds this person, or how?
What we need to do right now is, if the town agrees with this, the town board agrees with this, that to give me the go-ahead, and all I need to upload into their database the fact that the town of Highlands is interested in participating. So once we get entered into their database, we have the opportunity to look at who they have as a pool of potential interns. So there's nothing for us to do yet except to get into their system, so that we can start to look at what the possibilities are.
And again, it's a paid internship, and once it's in the system too, you said there will be a financing from, to pay for that internship will come from,
NYSERDA, the
come
state.
from
yeah.
NYSERDA.
Well, it's 90%, and then, of that is what their policy states. And I'm looking for the other 10% from private sources, so hopefully I'll get it all
Either
covered.
that, or it'll cost us $1.50 an hour.
It's possible, yeah, right.
Excuse me, we'd still have to go through Orange County Civil Service. You'd have to create a position with the county. I'm sure there's something that could, I'm sure they have some position.
Even as an internship program?
Well, if it's being paid through the town of Highlands, yes.
As much as a penny makes it eligible to go through civil service. Okay.
I'll defer to Justin.
I'll double check the requirements on that specificity. Of course, between the grant and if there are private donations, the town can't fundraise for that purpose. So, as a committee member, you need to be careful. But I'll review the civil service requirements. But again, it would be an extremely low cost, and I'm sure the county has part-time positions, so it's not going to be difficult. It just is an extra layer to go through.
Okay, so what can we do tonight? Can we give Olga the permission to go ahead and get us into the database?
Sure, just subject. So I would just make it subject to, right, your hiring decision will be subject to grant funding, right? So if the grant, we would like 90% and NYSERDA only offers 10%, you may or may not want to move forward with the internship.
Well, it's not really a grant. It's a program, and they fund 90% of the internship cost.
Okay,
as far as
I want the record to say that it is subject to receiving that,
Yeah.
right? So that the town isn't bound to move forward with something.
Oh, no, not
Right,
as
when
far.
they haven't seen, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But they haven't seen any of that, right? So they just don't want their hands tied if they sort of says, well, we gave out as much as we could this year, you can only get.
Right, well, this first step will be no commitment
Right.
anyway, so.
That's all I-
Yeah, right.
That's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah, and one question, who would supervise this intern? You would.
I will if you want me to.
Okay, so is that gonna be an issue, having a non-town employee supervise a town employee?
So again, you, you have the advisory committee that can make recommendations. You have you have someone who sits on the committee, you have a liaison to that committee, but that can be coordinated.
Okay, because I think if we go forward, we need to know who this person works for, and who's gonna be directing the work effort and all that type of stuff.
Well, I'd
too.
be guiding the work effort,
Yeah.
and the person would be working directly with
Yeah. Who
board
appro-
members, department heads,
Yeah,
and
Who
stuff
approves,
like that.
who approves time, we're gonna get into, those kinds of things.
Certainly, I think there could be,
I mean, I think it's a great idea,
You've seen the work of
but
the
we've got-
committee. I mean, the committee's done good work in several areas.
Yep.
They're thorough, they're detailed, but you're correct, ultimately, the responsibility sits with the 4 town board members.
Yeah.
5, excuse me. Couldn't count.
So would the board like to give permission for Olga to take the first step contingent on the funding, contingent on the county allowing the position?
Just change it from Olga to the Citizens Environmental Advisory Committee.
All right, that sounds good.
Motion.
All right, motion,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Olga.
Corbin Hill Water Storage Tank, where are we at on that? I hate to keep throwing things back to you, Richie, but,
I've been out of the loop except for the emails. I think it was a matter of you signing something.
yes, and I did. I signed it and
Supervisor
sent it
did
in.
sign the geotechnical subcontract, so that work will be undertaken. What, the last thing I'm aware of that Lankin Tully, the engineering firm, needs is just confirmation on the size of the tank. I don't know that was, they had put a few different options within their proposal. My takeaway from the conversations were, so long as the tank stays at the same height, that the
Correct.
largest size feasible at that
What
point.
kind of is happening is you have a site which is rocky and it's sloped like this, and here's your ceiling. So if you want to make a bigger tank, the foundation is good on the rock over here, no problem. This side has to be filled in, and you have to build a retaining wall to do so. And the wider you go in diameter, because the height is staying the same, the more money it's going to cost for geotechnical, because you'll have to build a bigger retaining wall. So I forget just what all the proposals were. The middle one looked the most appealing to me, which is going to put us over 250,000 gallons in total storage with both tanks, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 199,000.
Yeah, I couldn't remember right if it got you to 250 or if it got you to 195. I don't remember.
Yeah, 195.
adding them
195
all.
it was.
Yeah.
Combine
And
that
that
with the...
seemed to make
That's right.
good sense.
Combine that with the 58,000, and John was concerned with the 10 state standard or whatever it was. Like, we're pretty close to meeting that.
Very close.
And even if you do the really big one, I think you're starting to approach money that need not be spent, and you're going to be giving the neighbors something they may not like seeing. It'll be pretty big, so.
So I think it's just, if the board is comfortable with that, then I think Richie or the supervisor just needs to communicate that to your engineering team. So they can expand upon the plans.
Are you gonna handle that, Rich?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually wanted this Thursday to have one of those meetings I have every couple of months with Justin and John O'Rourke and Philip. Unfortunately, Justin and Philip won't be here Thursday, so I'm
right.
gonna have to come up with another day.
Hey, the ambulance corps is suggesting that we need to take a look at their rate for transportation. And they're recommending that we move from $850 to $1,150. This apparently is for basic life, basic life support. The other ALS supports, we don't control that at all. So would we like to move that BLS rate up to $1,150?
Yeah, can I just make one comment about that?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I'd be happy to make that motion, too. But just for clarification, just so the board is aware, you probably are, but this is from the Fair Health Consumer rates that are being published. This is sort of the industry standard rates. And right now, they are at $1,150. For transport, we are currently billing at $850. And I believe the last time the town adjusted its rates was back in 2017. So we're sort of a little behind. Yeah, so this is an attempt to get caught up with that a little bit.
So I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Kelly, you're going to notify the billing company? Okay. Kelly and I interviewed the one candidate for,
Bless you.
where are we at here? As principal payroll clerk. We interviewed a young lady in my office, and she is currently doing, Kelly, tell the board about her.
Sure, so she's currently working at the PX, she's worked there for several years, and she has 4 years of payroll experience there, with greater than 150 employees. She has not taken the principal payroll clerk exam yet, which Civil Service is aware of, and she's pre-approved from the county already, based on her experience. Once they schedule the exam, there isn't even a date yet for the exam. When she takes the exam, we can request a residence-only list because she was local, and she would more than likely be the only person on the list. I think she's more than qualified to take the job. Elaine has extended her retirement date to assist in the training, and Diva is prepared to start April 25th.
Any questions on this young lady?
Nope. I saw the email, so I
Okay.
saw your email.
I'll ask for a motion to hire, was it Diva Jimenez, the position of principal payroll clerk at the salary schedule, and she'll start on April the 25th, and we'll go, probation, we
Well, she's provisional
Okay.
based on
So
the
that-
test being scheduled, so she's being hired as a provisional employee.
okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. If you remember last week, I had this resolution that the Congressman Tonko had proposed on Watershed Protection Act. Justin, what did you get out of that?
Sure, I modified it a little bit, just to take a little bit of the hyperbole. See, Jim? Joe?
I got you, man.
To smooth it out a little bit and not have you make statements that aren't necessarily reflective of the town of Highlands, but nevertheless, it's a basic resolution of support for the Watershed Protection Act, which will create grant opportunities and funding sources for protections around the Hudson River and certain other waterways in the New York, New Jersey area. This is a basic resolution of support that your town clerk would assist you in providing to the Congress people elected in the Hudson Valley.
Okay. This says that the town board, Town of Highlands supports the passing of the New York, New Jersey Watershed Protection Act. I feel as though that we, living here on the river, in particular having Mindock Park, should we be looking for some sort of funding, grants and what have you, it certainly can't hurt to pass this resolution. So I'll ask for a motion to move the resolution in regarding the New York, New Jersey Watershed Protection Act.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, we need a roll call.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt?
Aye.
Councilmember Modlin?
Aye.
And Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye.
Somebody like Congressman Tonko will know that we did this and we want to get some of that 50 million or whatever it is.
Just some of it? Okay, I have a note from our town clerk, or deputy town clerk. On Friday, a representative from Orange County called me and wanted to notify the town that after several attempts to reach Monica Sullivan about the BAR training class, they were unsuccessful. Monica Sullivan did not show for the training class. Orange County said that she is not allowed to sit on the board going forward. I would like to ask for a motion to remove Monica Sullivan from the Assessment Board of Review. I would like to make that motion.
I still have questions about,
Let me have a motion and a second, and then we can discuss it,
okay.
all right?
Motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
No, well, I'm a little confused on
Oh, okay, well, we
why we removing it.
because you can't serve.
And it's,
I'm sorry, Supervisor, may I?
Yes.
You're just confirming what the county has already done, because she did not attend the training class, she's not eligible to sit on the board. So the county has already removed her, we're just doing it on our end.
The reason I'm doing it this way is it's our appointment, and I don't feel as though the county can remove her, but we can because she's not capable of serving.
okay. Well,
Yes.
It's-
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Well,
If we leave her on the board, she won't be able to perform, and would be one member short at the next Assessment Board of Review.
and the reason she can't perform is because the county says she can't perform.
No, there is a law that says that all members of the Board of Assessment Review must attend training the first time they're appointed and any time they are reappointed. And this person has failed to attend the training.
So, okay, so can I do just a little what-if thing? We appoint members to the planning board, we appoint members to the zoning board. Can the county come back at any time and say, this person can't serve and that person can't serve, or am I doing apples and oranges here? I mean,
Sure, the
I
laws,
mean, I agree, this is our person that we've appointed on the board. Now, if she's not doing what she's supposed to, or if anyone's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they don't have the right training. Same with this lady who we're doing a provisional hire. If, you know, they need the training, need the certification, and they don't get it, and they're given fair warning, then, you know, that's our responsibility to take that action. I guess I'm a little, and I know, you know, I heard about this here shortly before the meeting, and I guess I'm a little concerned that, you know, I mean, this is our person, this is not the county's person.
so, right, so there are, I mean, you bring up a lot of nuanced areas, right? And different boards have different rules and different training requirements. There are training requirements for your planning board members and your zoning board of appeals members. And if they do not complete training, they cannot be reappointed. Here. right-
Reappointed.
on Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals, the Board of Assessment Review is different, right? And literally the law says that they cannot sit if they haven't performed their training. The reason the county is involved is twofold. One, they do the training. So they are aware of who attends training. Secondly, right, countywide, the way the assessments work, there is an interaction between all municipalities with an assessor and the county. So, right, they do have more direct involvement here, but in essence, they were notifying you and your assessor that this person could not participate this year. That creates a problem for you all because the process doesn't work as well if, first of all, they need a quorum, right? They're automatically one member short, right? Are you otherwise full, Supervisor Livesey? I think you're two people down at this point.
Well, if.
Well,
we
one
remove her-
cannot, and one seat is vacant. So,
The question, is there a deadline on this? And can there be
sure,
an
there is a deadline.
extension?
Yeah, so the law provides for extensions. My understanding is they don't take this step just willy-nilly. But the person must have written for an extension, and sometimes they will give that once. They will never give that twice. But the problem is, right, so your tax schedule is set. You have no control over it. The county cannot extend it. And it's the fourth Tuesday in May when the Board of Assessment Review must meet. So you have approximately 5 weeks. This person won't be able to be trained.
Yeah, the only reason I hesitate is because if the person otherwise was doing this training and serving in this capacity, then all of a sudden now the person just doesn't show up. Something doesn't sound right to me. Is a person, if there was a, hypothetically, if a person was in the hospital and they couldn't go to the training, did they get excluded for that reason?
No, so, right, there are exceptions, right, that the county can grant, not you, right? And again, the county has a role here because if you don't have if your Board of Assessment Review doesn't have a quorum, technically the county steps in to fill that role. That is not something the county wants. That is not something the municipality wants, right? Because you then have county officials who aren't familiar with your community making decisions on your various constituents' complaints to the board without having an understanding of your market. So that's the reason for the county overlay here. I know it's a little unusual, but it's pretty straightforward in the law that
All
you
right,
should
so
attend your
second.
training.
Well, do we question her intent?
No. So did you do a yes or no? So I thought I heard.
She's also not communicated with the assessor's office or the county. And I understand that she's been notified, requesting, actually, she didn't even take her pay from last year. She's just kind of totally
I don't
dropped
know.
out of
I
this
didn't
whole.
Last year was the same thing after
That's
she
what
was
it-
appointed.
Yeah.
Remember, she couldn't serve because she didn't, and then she actually reappointed this year, and then the same thing happened. So this is actually the second year in a row. this year.
Yeah, okay. So.
I'm obviously going to recuse myself,
Yeah, we
and
figured
I'm not
as
going
much.
to talk a lot about it, except to say Bob was ill February of a year ago, and I filled in for him. And at that meeting, I recused myself on this very same subject. She was reappointed, and that happened again about 6 months later, not long ago, 6 months ago or something like that happened. And that's all I have to say about it. So this isn't the first time, is what I'm saying.
All right, so we need a motion or a second?
Second, we have a motion already.
Second.
Any other questions or comments?
Just one more then. Do we at least owe her a chance to, I mean, I mean, if there's some private thing going on, that's one thing.
It's 2 years running,
Let us know. 'cause we
Well,
cannot
I
go
don't.
and it's 2 years running.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think you do owe her that. You have a responsibility to the rest of your town that the Board of Assessment Review is fully functioning for grievance day, where several of your constituents will come forward to grieve their taxes.
I seconded already.
Roll call.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Abstain.
Councilmember King,
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Aye.
Councilmember Modlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Leahy.
Aye. Okay, now we have two vacancies, one of which will serve until 2025, and the other one will serve until 2024. I have a letter which I gave to everyone here from Arthur Brunwasser, who we just hired as a court guard, or court attendant. And he has quite a nice resume, and he's asking to be appointed to the Assessment Board of Review.
Question or motion first?
Yeah, well, let's do a motion first.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to hire
Motion.
Arthur Brunwasser as, what you call it, a member of the Assessment Board of Review at the salary?
I so move.
And second, okay.
Second. Aye.
I think Ty said, he made the motion, and Richie.
Didn't say anything.
Okay, all right.
And is that the 2024 or 2025?
25.
25, thank you.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
Is this person qualified? Are we going to run into the same issue that we did with the lady that we just let go, that he's not going to get the qualifications if he's not? And if he is not qualified for it, is there something that we need to do that within a certain period of time, he is going to get qualified? Because I'd hate for us to come back a year from now or some, whatever, and I know who the individual is, and we've hired him, you know, so, but I'm just saying, you know, I think we've learned something here, maybe I've learned something, but are we sure that this person can serve for his appointed period of time?
The way I understand it works is that, being we're hiring him right now, and if they've already had the class, they will make an exception to bring him in and give him a class. Am I right?
That's my understanding.
If he has had the class? Is it-
No, he hasn't, no.
Yeah.
If the date of the class has passed already, they'll make an exception and have a class for this person, so he can get the training done and be qualified.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Roll call, please.
It's only a motion, you want a roll call?
Yeah.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Aye.
Councilmember Modlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Leahy.
Aye. Any business not listed
Is there
above?
still another vacancy on that board?
Yes,
now?
there's still one more vacancy which.
Are we advertising for it, or for next year? It's probably too late for this year, right?
Well, we can pick up anybody, anytime, even though they may not be qualified to sit on the board.
I mean, people are aware that that's an important job.
That's a good point.
People come here to grieve, they have the right to do so. It's just like having a jury. You want some people with some intent to use a brain in their head to make these decisions, so.
Which is
Yeah. no,
what the training also speaks to, is that it is a quasi-judicial position, and they do need training and temperament to understand the issues that are coming before them.
Kelly, if we can get together with Jean and have her write up some sort of a notice that we're looking for someone for the Assessment Board of Review.
So this is going to meet the fourth Tuesday in May. And on the on the only vacancy we have then, when would we need to have that person done so that they could be part of that, or have we already missed this year and this would be more for next year?
I don't know the answer
No, I
to
don't either,
that
but
particular question.
I think they will.
They will try to accommodate you. It depends on the county's schedule as well, but the county wants to see grievance days
Okay.
go
So-
forward appropriately.
So to Richie's point then, if by our next board meeting, 2 weeks from now, if there is someone who is interested in doing this, I guess they need to let us know, and then that should give us enough time, or give them enough time to be able to participate in this process in May. Yeah, okay, so if anyone's interested, let us know.
Just an announcement that this is part of an email I got from Aaron, our Recreation Director. As you know, he has a group of cadets, I think they're rugby players, that have come in and did some work in our parks and what have you. As part of the Earth Day weekend, they will be coming down to Mine Dock Park on the 23rd, that's a Friday. Earth Day is, I think, is Saturday, but as part of that weekend, they're going to come in and do a cleanup down at the park. So for those that were on a committee before, before it disbanded, I know they're looking for things to happen down there.
I think Friday, the 22nd is Earth Day. They are scheduled for the 23rd,
Third,
on Saturday.
Okay, good. I had it just wrong.
Just to
there.
clarify.
Thank you. You just wanted to correct me, that's all.
It's the 10.
Anything else?
Just, I would be a disservice. Earth Day is before our next meeting, I believe, yes. So, Olga, when we met last Friday, I talked about some things going on. And possibly, probably, down at the American Legion Hall will be a showing of either and/or the Human Element or Chasing Ice, along with the other things that I am going to partake, as I did last year, in cleaning up Garrison Pond, which is right behind my house. I think we have members of our committee doing their respective neighborhoods around the yards and whatnot is being encouraged. So I choose Garrison Pond, and I'm sure there'll be notification, but I'm planning on showing the Human Element at the American Legion Hall. It's something I believe in.
Getting back to Mine Dock Park again, if anybody in general public, anybody has any ideas of things that we can do down there or should do down there, I'm the right person to come to and see. We don't have a Mine Dock Park committee any longer, so if you would come to me, give me your ideas. Myself personally, I like the way it is now. Kind of as natural as it could be, with some improvements. We just put down a couple of grills down there by the picnic benches. We get a lot of people coming to watch the trains. It's amazing how many people set up their cameras on tripods and sit down there as a group to watch the trains. So anyway, is there anything else? Olga, you have anything else? Since you're the only public comment person here. I think, what? You're not public, you're.
The rain last weekend, or late last week, really kind of did a job on 9W going down like from O'Neill down into Fort Montgomery, the potholes. Have you heard from DOT when they're going to be filling?
They did fill the
Oh,
real
did they?
bad one there.
Okay.
This guy hit, my son calls me up 5 minutes later and says, "Dad, if you're going home, watch out for this pothole."
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, too late.
So they did fix that.
They did fill that in, but
All along the double yellow lines, from where the new pavement starts, like all the way to the bridge, it's like there's a crater in the middle there. It's,
I would believe it's like that from here to Albany.
yeah, now even the thruway is very bad right now.
They actually came out in the middle of the night about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
We called them and they showed up.
For that one down the bottom of the hill. Boy, that was some hole, that was. Okay, motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you very much.